It is a very cold and gloomy day today, so I'm finally gonna do some plant chores that I've been avoiding, and one of those is finally eradicating spider mites on my alocasia frydek. Side note, I recently learned that the actual proper name for this alocasia is this. I'll write it on the screen because it's leaving my mind right now, but it should only be referred to as frydek when it's variegated. Anyway, I found spider mites on this plant probably early December the first time, and I didn't do much. I kind of just rinsed them off and then let it be. It sits on my kitchen island right underneath one of our HVAC vents. We had a couple of days where it was dry, and and by dry I mean like in the 40s, but spider mites like spare no opportunity to show up when the air even remotely dries. So I knew this was the cause. I knew they were there. I rinsed them off and then just kind of pretended that wasn't the situation. But I also have this theory that if you make a sacrificial plant, the plant that has the pests, in this instant the spider mites, then the spider mites will continue to feed on that plant and not necessarily spread to other plants. So that was kind of what I did in the back of my head, like this can be the sacrificial plant for now because they're not doing that much damage, and I'm not gonna move the plant, and I'm not gonna not turn my heater on when it's freezing. And that's not typically how I approach pests at all. I am aggressive in treatment, and this may be unpopular opinion, but I believe that you can fully eradicate a pest if you treat correctly and consistently. And I have my experience to prove it. Now, because I have allowed the spider mites to hang out on this plant for some time now, I am going to check the plants in the kitchen as well, since obviously air is flowing and they're so itty bitty they can kind of just drift with airflow, but I haven't noticed them on anything else. So it also proves my theory that if spider mites are happily infesting one plant, they won't leave. Anyway, today is the day we're gonna get rid of them, and I'm gonna show you exactly what I do to eradicate spider mites once and for good. Start by taking the plant into the shower or the sink, depending on size, and remove a cache pot if applicable. You'll want to rinse the plant on a high pressure setting, every single leaf, front and back, all the stems, the top of the soil and or potting medium, and then the pot it's actually in. While the excess water drips off, take this opportunity to thoroughly clean and wash the cache pot, the surface the plant was in, or anything else that the plant may have been touching, like walls, floors, or other plants. Return to the plant, and I use Perfect Plantista, which is an all-natural insecticidal soap. I will spray the entire plant, every single leaf, every inch, every crevice, back and forth, all the stems, the top of the soil and or potting medium, and the pot it's potted in. I will follow by wiping every single leaf, all the stems, and the pot again to remove any spider mites that are still on the plant. Finally, I spray the entire plant with Perfect Plantista one more time, and I don't wipe anything off. So this is day one. I started using Perfect Plantista almost a year ago, and to be frank, I was super hesitant. Before I tried Perfect Plantista, I was only doing Azamax, which is still wonderful and works amazing. But what I love about Perfect Plantista is that it's all natural, it's people, pet friendly, in general, just less harmful for us and the environment. You know, I could use it outside if I needed to, and obviously I do have pets. They leave my plants alone for the most part, but if I don't have to use super harsh stuff, I'd rather not. And I was really hesitant that an all-natural insecticidal soap would work, but I was a believer the very first time I tried. I'll add some footage on the screen. I did like a side-by-side experiment doing Azamax with my Ficus shibriana and doing Perfect Plantista on my pink princess philodendron, and they both did the job. I eradicated spider mites using both. Again, the benefits of it being all natural and organic are just far outweigh using something that's not as safe for me. Also, even though it's made with neem oil, it smells really good, like cinnamon. It reminds me of like lacunosa blooms. Also, I can no longer have Azamax shipped to California, which I would have been freaking out had I not found something that also works and is very effective. I'm gonna keep logging every day so that you can see the progress and where we're at with the spider mites and how many days it takes for them to be gone. In my experience, depending on the size of the infestation, sometimes I just need one treatment and I'll do like a second one for good measure. But in general, it has taken 2 treatments, and like by day 3, I don't see anything. I'll check back in a week and they're completely gone. But I'll keep doing that so that you can see. I will say something very, very, very important that many people don't do or skip or don't talk about is you want to also make sure that you completely clean the area where the plant was. If it's touching a wall, whatever surface it was on, the floor, any plants around it, I would have gone ahead and treated them anyway if they were in close contact, because if you don't do that and there's even 1 or 2 lingering, then the infestation can come back pretty quickly. For me in this situation, since it lives in the island by itself, not touching any other plants, and I have inspected other plants and haven't seen anything, I did just wash the pot. I cleaned the island thoroughly. I also cleaned and washed the exterior of that pot that's holding all the pollen and the actual plant, just in case there was anything lingering around in that area. So this is what I do. This is my tried and true way to eradicate spider mites quickly. You do have to be consistent. You should treat every day until they're gone. It's been quite several days since I first treated my alocasia frydek for spider mites, and I said I was going to show you daily updates until I didn't see any more spider mites, but honestly I just kind of forgot about it. So I thought that I would look and inspect very thoroughly with you and I'll write the dates on when I first treated it versus today. Today is Sunday, February 11th, and let's see if we find anything. By looking at them, I don't see any more webbing or any more new specks on the leaves, but you know, you never know. So I do think it's good to get the microscope just to be like 100% sure of what may be going on or if anything is still hiding anywhere. And then another, or like something I will say about spider mites is I feel like everywhere and everyone always says to look at the undersides of the leaves. I have always found spider mites on the top side. So, you know, not just because your undersides are clear means that the tops are. So just something to note. But I'm going to pair my microscope with my phone and we will take a closer look. I will show you on the screen what I'm seeing with my microscope so that it can be an inspection together. This looks just like debris and leftover damage. My finger, but I like to see the edges here because this is where the webbing gathers, and then I see them, or like when I see them, they're frequently walking around the edges of the leaf. This leaf looks clear. See how beautiful the back looks for the most part, super clean and clear, but the front had all the damage and all the debris that's left. That's what I mean. Okay, let's go on to this one that had the most damage. I always wonder what those little like hair-like fibers are because I can't see them on the leaf, but they show up a lot. Oh, that might be a, oh no, I thought that might be a deceased spider mite, but it's not. You can see all those kind of like fluorescent spots. That's the spider mite damage. And some of those, or a lot of those, are visible to the naked eye. Yeah, I mean, let's check the back side of this leaf, just for good measure. Again, squeaky clean and clear. Check the top sides of the leaves. And let's check one more. They were really just hanging out in this cluster, I believe. I checked this one. Yeah, so let's do this one. I would love to know what those fibers are. Would I though? Do I really need to know? It's my finger. See all that spider mite damage? And we'll check the back side for good measure. Again, another backside that's squeaky clean. Unreal. I think that we will just check one of these on the other side just in case. But this isn't really where I had seen them anyway. Or they weren't as active, I should say. That, no. Okay. All of that is spider mite damage, by the way, right here. See that? Okay. So I would call this a successful treatment, eradicating them in just one application. The trick is you just have to be super, super thorough. And then in addition, I can't remember if I mentioned this the first time I treated or not, but in addition to treating the plant, you should also completely thoroughly wash any cache pot, any surfaces, anything that the plant was near in case there are any more lingering there so they won't come back and attach to your plant. So yeah, I would call this a success. I do have a couple of different ways I treat for spider mites, and it just depends on the size of the plant, you know, kind of what the foliage is, or the severity. If it's a really, really bad infestation, I might just like soak the plant for a while in the insecticidal soap, or even like a DIY water and soap sort of thing before I start treating with Perfect Plantista. But yeah, when it's something like this totally manageable that I can just go on and clean every individual leaf, then that's also just a little bit satisfying, and I feel that I'm really thorough. So yeah, I hope you found this video helpful and or informative, and I'll see you super soon. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe.